Imagine the ultimate nightmare for any military strategist. You're standing in the command center of a nuclear-armed nation of 240 million people. To your east lies your eternal rival, a rising global superpower with a military budget nearly 7 times yours. To your west, a fractured, volatile landscape governed by an erratic regime that was once your ally, but now harbors militants who bleed their soldiers daily on home soil. Why is this the absolute worst-case scenario? It's about overstretch. You cannot focus your primary strike forces. You have to split your artillery, your air support, your logistic chains, and, most importantly, your intelligence capabilities. If you move troops from the east to the west, you leave yourself vulnerable to India. If you keep them east, you allow militancy from the west to tear the country apart from within. Historically, Pakistan's entire defense posture has been singular, anti-India. Their doctrine, their training, and their infrastructure are geared towards stopping an Indian conventional breakthrough in the Punjab plains or defending Kashmir. The western frontier with Afghanistan, the Durand Line, was historically seen as a soft border offering strategic depth. But strategic depth has turned into a strategic death trap. The assumption was that a friendly government in Kabul would ensure a peaceful western border. That assumption died the moment the U.S. withdrew in 2021 and the Taliban took over. Today, Pakistan isn't just facing 2 distinct fronts, it is facing 2 distinct types of warfare. In the east, a conventional nuclear standoff. In the west, a brutal asymmetric counterinsurgency campaign. We start in the east. To say India and Pakistan are rivals is like saying the sun is warm. It is a defining feature of their existence. Since 1947, they fought 4 wars, but the current situation is different. It's no longer about total war. It's about a massive conventional imbalance creating immense pressure. Remember February 2019? This was the closest 2 nuclear powers have come to a full-scale war in decades. After the Pulwama attack, India launched airstrikes inside Pakistan, and Pakistan responded in kind. It was a terrifying reminder of how quickly simmering can turn to boiling. India's defense budget is now larger than Pakistan's entire economy. They are buying S-400 missile systems, Rafale fighter jets, and building their own aircraft carriers. This doesn't just threaten Pakistan's borders, it is threatening their nuclear deterrence. The real-world example of this front's ongoing impact is simple. It dictates where Pakistan spends its limited money. Over 70% of Pakistan's massive defense budget goes to the conventional and nuclear defense of the Eastern Front. That is 70% of resources that are unavailable for what's happening in the West. Let's go west, to the 1,640-mile boundary known as the Durand Line. After the 2021 U.S. withdrawal, the Pakistani intelligence community was optimistic. They believed the Afghan Taliban, a group they'd helped for years, would stabilize the country and clamp down on anti-Pakistan militants. They were wrong. The reverse has happened. The Afghan Taliban are now a sovereign government. They don't want to be seen as a puppet of Islamabad. The result is total collapse of security trust between the 2 capitals. In February 2026, the breaking point. Afghan forces launched large-scale offensive operations against Pakistani border posts. They claim to capture 13 outposts and kill 55 Pakistani soldiers. Pakistan says nonsense. On February 27, 2026, Pakistani F-16s and JF-17s strike back hard. Ammunition depots, brigade headquarters, and Taliban command centers destroyed. This is the new normal on the Western Front. Daily attacks, border skirmishes, and a total diplomatic breakdown. When Pakistan carried out intelligence-based operations inside Afghanistan against TTP hideouts, the Afghan Taliban launched their own artillery against Pakistani border posts. The Western Front is not simmering, it is already boiling. So we have the East and the West, but the reality is even more complex. The 2 fronts are actually being complicated by a massive internal security crisis in Balochistan, which effectively creates a 2.5-front conflict. Balochistan is Pakistan's largest, least populated, and poorest province, but it is rich in natural resources. For decades, ethnic Baloch separatist groups have fought an insurgency against the state, demanding greater autonomy. The insurgency has exploded in recent years because the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPEC) is a $600 billion collection of infrastructure projects, a flagship of China's Belt and Road Initiative. Many of these projects are in Balochistan, culminating in the deep-water port of Gwadar. This has forced the Pakistan military to create a dedicated 15,000-man security division just to protect Chinese nationals and assets. Those are 15,000 elite troops who are not on the Indian border and are not fighting the TTP. They are guarding roads. This brings us to the single most critical factor in this entire equation. It's not about how many tanks Pakistan has or how brave its soldiers are. It's about one thing: the economy. Military capability is not just about what you can do, it's about what you can afford to keep doing. War, even a cold one, is incredibly expensive. Modern artillery shells, aircraft fuel, logistics for a 1,000,000-man force, these things require hard currency. You cannot buy fighter jets with inflation. When Pakistan is on its 24th IMF bailout just to pay off old loans, it has zero capacity to finance an actual simultaneous high-intensity two-front war. Every new artillery shell you buy is money you cannot spend on education, health, or even feeding your own population. This is the ultimate nightmare of the two-front conflict. It is not just about losing territory, it's about the economic and social implosion of the state itself. The pressure from the outside can trigger a complete breakdown on the inside. China is perhaps the most important external actor in this story. Beijing sees Pakistan as a critical partner, not just for CPEC, but as a strategic counterweight to India, which China views as a regional rival aligned with the United States. When the India-Pakistan crisis escalated in May 2025, China publicly called for dialogue and restraint, but behind the scenes, Beijing was deeply worried. An unstable Pakistan threatened CPEC. A full-scale India-Pakistan war could draw in China, which has its own unresolved border disputes with India. And a nuclear exchange on the subcontinent would have catastrophic consequences for the entire region, including China. So, is Pakistan facing a two-front conflict? The answer is yes. Not in the classic World War I sense of armies fighting on two lines simultaneously, but in the very real sense of a state under acute pressure from two directions at once: external military threat from India and internal insurgent violence from the TTP, while simultaneously managing an economic crisis, a political rupture, and the impossible burden of being a nuclear-armed state that cannot afford to lose. The nightmare scenario isn't an invasion, it's an implosion. Pakistan isn't just defending its borders, it is defending its very existence as a coherent state. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.